So, OPCUA, the Secure Semantic Industrial Interoperability Standard. This is what I'm talking a little bit about, and I give you a short update on the status of the organization itself, but also on the OPCUA framework. And I'm not talking about the technical update. Again, that's what Matthias Damm is doing. But traveling around the world, I noticed a lot of perception what OPCUA is. That's interesting. So let's dive a little bit into that. We are touching just very short OPC initiatives for the cloud and for the field because we have dedicated presentations on that later on. And then we talk about the collaboration, the information models, the huge movement around the world. Sometimes I say on stage, OPCUA is much more than just a technology. It's meanwhile a movement around the world where people identify with OPCUA, they're thrilled, they're implementing, adapting it in their areas. Okay, let's start. First of all, I'd like to thank you. We have unbelievable 1,762 registered people this morning. And that's why the numbers will rise up, people stay up. It's pretty early, depending in which region you are in the world. It's early in Europe right now. It is good afternoon in Asia. It is in the night in North America. And here you see that we are established around the world. For your notice, the recordings of each presentation and also the slides in a PDF format will be shared later after this week, and you can access it if you have registered to this OPC Day. I highly recommend to ask questions and type in questions in the Q&A window. We have each day a 1-hour block where the experts, the speakers of the day, will answer everything you ask. And if a speaker is not available because of the time zone or other time conflicts, we will definitely forward the question to him and he will answer them later on. Okay, what is OPCUA? It is providing industrial interoperability not only in the area of the OT world of factory floors or scaling from sensor up via SCADA, MES, ERP. It is also able to move data up from the OT to the IT, obviously also back, but also provide semantic interoperability inside IT world. And this is exactly the dream we had always, having one powerful modeling language, having a powerful and very flexible transport mechanism for different use cases, and having integrated security. At the end, that's simple and that's all. That's OPCUA. And this is what is working very successfully, and we showed even this year at the Hannover Messe that OPC UA is providing semantic industrial interoperability between digital twins, and we are scaling also to the metaverse. We will come to that later on and later this week. Let's look to the OPC Foundation as an organization. I mentioned already that's a huge international movement. Status this morning, we have 941 worldwide members. And the vision is exactly what I mentioned, secure industrial interoperability in a secure, reliable way. We want to exchange information, which is more than data, it's data in a context. And scaling this data in a complete vendor agnostic, product agnostic, market agnostic way. Completely scaling from sensor to IT applications in the cloud and back. We are proud that OPCUA is an IEC standard. We talk about that later on a little bit. And all the offerings are free of charge. You don't have to be a member to just read released specifications. They are free of charge, available in the OPC Foundation web, including all companion specifications. Sample code is available as open source offerings on GitHub. And even if you go with a RAM start, buy a toolkit, implement your product quickly, and then you want to increase the quality to make sure that it fulfills all the needs of your customer, you can register for testing as at the OPC lab in Europe or in China, status today, and you don't have to be a paying member of the OPC Foundation. So you might ask, what is then the benefit of being a member? Well, you get early insights. You know 2, 3, 4, 6 years ahead what's going on, what is the direction of the OPC Foundation, what are key influencing technologies. You can save that time and money instead of implementing your own product, or you can go into that direction and prepare yourself. And you can do that either in a listening only, monitoring way, or you can obviously influence the direction. You also have, by the way, benefits on certification. You pay just half the price per day. We have a very modern IPR policy, which is, I believe, unique in the world. We are not only protecting members itself, we are protecting everybody who is implementing or using OPC UA. That's really cool. From an OPC Foundation organization point of view, and you find a lot of more information here in the OPC Foundation web, how the OPC Foundation is structured and so on. I'm not going in all these details. You see all the team members of the control board, the technical control board, the marketing control board in the OPC web. Everything is documented, transparent. But I want to show you here that we have two new board colleagues. The previous board colleagues have retired. And so now we have two new colleagues from Rockwell and some Mitsubishi Electric, and we highly like to welcome them for sure. There will later on day 5 also be a report on the marketing regional teams in the world. We not only have Mike Clark running OPC Foundation North America in his role as a director, we also have Albert Zhang and Sam DeKey in China. We have Toshio Ono in Japan. We have David Chia in Singapore. We have Patrick in France. And we have Nam in Korea. So all of them will do a very short, few minutes only presentation on the last day showing what they do, what the role of OPC UA is in their region. I mentioned 941 members worldwide. It is mostly OT companies, so who is who, that's true. But we also have the IT companies on board, the small companies, AWS, Cisco, IBM, Google, Microsoft, SAP, NTT, the Japanese telecommunication company, and there are more, and a lot of end users. We are really proud that as the 900th member of the OPC Foundation, we could have welcomed the company Procter & Gamble. So overall, and by the way, they do also a presentation. Jeff Kent is doing a presentation on Thursday from his end user point of view. I'm looking really forward to see that. From the statistics, you see that we are growing in all regions in the world. You can dive into more of these statistics. Overall, you see that 60% of all members are more or less located in Europe, and the other percentage is split in the rest of the world, North America, Asia, and rest of the world. I mentioned here the slide from Procter & Gamble. We welcome them as member 900, and I already mentioned Jeff Kent is doing a presentation on Thursday. Cross fingers, it's becoming thrilling. Let's talk about OPC UA as a technology. Again, I'm not diving into the technical part. It is more the perception. And it is, and now I have to ask Timo, do you see all the numbers till 2013? Okay, then somehow the presentation has broken. I thought it's flying in line by line. But my message here is, maybe you have heard about OPC UA a couple of years ago, and then you have built your mindset. Yeah, sure, I know OPC UA, right? It's a successor of OPC Classic. It's the faster, the easier part to cross the network. This is how it started in 2007 earlier, when we introduced OPC UA 2006, and the first products then have been in small embedded devices or Linux-based devices. And so the message and the mindset have been, okay, it's the independent, operating independent version. Later on, I remember we had made an OPC Day 2011 at SAP, and so the mindset was, oh, we are scaling to ERP level in 2014. So this is really has changed over the years. And after that, we have been selected by the German Industry 4.0 standard, where we have been selected for the transport for reasons because of the role for the OPC community in the world, in Europe specifically, then in Germany. We have been analyzed by the BSI for security reasons, and then the mindset changed, and oh yeah, OPC UA, that's a secure standard, right? So you see it has changed over the year. OPC has always been the constant part. It has more changed in the mindset. And people have not thought about all the use cases, what they can do with that. It was always when something exciting happened. In 2016, we already made a public demo on OPC UA PubSub at the Hannover Messe, based on UDP at that time. Later on, we extended it with MQTT and AMQP and published that in 2017-18, February 2018. In 2018, later the year, we started the field level communication initiative. So then people again might thought and got the impression, oh yeah, OPC UA is just the last mile. It's the last mile to the physical asset. Hey, but that's not true. OPC scales, and we did that demos with MQTT, OPC UA PubSub via MQTT, first to the Microsoft Azure dashboard earlier, and later also to AWS dashboards and the Siemens MindSphere dashboard. So here you see the perception, what is OPC, has changed a little bit. It depends when have you last time really listened to what is OPC UA delivering and offering and where can you use it. And maybe you are you happy or are you astonished? Are you even frustrated because OPC is touching your business and you modeled something on your own for cloud or digital twins, and you did not realize that OPC UA is such a powerful modeling language? My message here to you is, please open your brain. Listen to this OPC Day where OPC UA is able to provide you help and a solution. Again, our dream is to have one modeling language, a lot of flexible transport capabilities, and integrated security by design. Overall, we want to avoid the automation pyramid from a communication point of view. It will be a pyramid from organization point of view, but the communication is super flexible. We want to switch, and we see the importance of moving information. Protocols are less important. You don't care how you get a letter, and if a car, a boat, a ship, a plane, or whoever, the bicycle is in between, and maybe even all of them are involved. You don't care. You just want to get the envelope, the message from your friends in a secure way, obviously. And this is why the message is OPC UA is much more than just a protocol. We are moving standardized information in a standardized way with integrated security, end-to-end security. This is how we often have explained OPC UA, and maybe it was for a couple of people not that easy to understand. This is more developer slide. I'm skipping it here. I'm now explaining you more that OPC UA is starting in the left upper corner. It is providing modeling in modeling capabilities like a Swiss knife object-oriented. It's for data and interfaces. It is supporting structured data, but it's also testing and validating on the transport if the data is correctly and is checking that. The transport is super flexible. It has two patterns, client-server, publisher-subscriber. I mentioned that before. After that, you have a binding on JSON, on binary transport. Protocols are later via binding can be extended. It is not only TCP. I am aware that you can't run OPC client-server via TCP between two cloud applications. Then you select OPC UA over MQTT. We did that for multiple years. We have all the patterns solved already. New is, is it new that we also provide a REST interface? We also provided that information early in the year 2020. The recording is on the web. We showed that at that time, the colleagues from the asset administration shell, that they are not designing their own standards and instead select trusted standards. And today we have a deeper dive into REST interface again on Wednesday by Randy Armstrong. So we can run over multiple infrastructure. What is important for the market? This is what the market is deciding. Security is built in, proven by experts. I have a slide on that later on. It is not only security on the transport layer, it's also to access who is able to read, see what, write, what kind of data. Audit concepts are integrated. Really cool. So all the modeling provides you extensibilities. You can write basic information. The OPC UA core technology is based on that, but also over 100 companion specifications, and you can run your own company companion standards extensions on that. You know best what your robot can provide additional information on top, so you can provide that also via your OPC UA server. The scalability, because of that flexible transport, is fundamental, fantastic. It's from field to cloud, from cloud to cloud, and cloud to field back, between field systems, so everything. Between machine and software, software, machine. There's nothing missing. OPC UA is an international standard. It's an IC standard. It's a local standard in a lot of other regions in the world. It's a local standard in China, in Singapore, in Korea. So we are proud on that. And it's independent. There's not one single company dominating the OPC Foundation or owning it. This is what I mentioned. It's a movement. It's belonging to us all. It's an OPC international standard, and everybody is asked to join and help, right? Important is, even we started in 2006 with version 1.0.0, till today there has never been a compatibility break. Good architecture, huh? And I believe this is because the OPC Foundation has all the experts, we have fantastic teams, we have a CTO, and organizing this and keeping everything together. This is definitely what we are super proud on. Jim Luce will talk about modeling later on, also on Wednesday. He is on Tuesday, obviously. Jim Luce is on Tuesday morning, talking about modeling. You should definitely join that session. The perception, I already talked about that a lot, but let's focus on 4 arguments. OPC UA is just the last mile to physical assets, right? Hey, no, it's not true. Maybe people have not realized that, but implementing a service which is running somewhere in the OT area, in the edge connected world to the internet, or in the cloud, gives you fantastic capabilities because you immediately are connected with semantic proven interoperability. And yes, you can do that. And while others even spend research money, how can 2 services talk via MQTT in a semantic interoperable way? We have shown that for years, just 17 years. OPC UA is just client-server. That's also not true. I mentioned already in 2018, the spec has been published to the public world, but we always do prototyping. to prove the specification. Nothing gets out as a spec without prototyping. So as mentioned before, in Hannover Messe 2016, 2 years before, we had a public demo with a lot of companies doing pub/sub. OPC UA is difficult to implement, also I hear that, or difficult to understand. Yeah, if you want to see it difficult, yeah, then it is difficult. Okay, congrats, go. I can't convince you. But if you open your mind, you have either toolkits which give you a RAM start, and you can just listen to Matthias Schuh on Friday. He is providing an overview. I invited him because I attended hackathons from the LUTs community where companies join to implement OPC UA in their laboratory analyzer devices. And they come together to share experience, and they do this kind of hackathons 2-3 times a year. It's fantastic. And companies said, okay, yesterday, the first day, I integrated the information model for the LUTs and with my toolkit, and today I'm doing the implementation down and collecting the information. Wow, cool. And that application later on has all connectivity, horizontal, vertical, to all other, to PLCs, to RFID readers, to all cloud dashboards, to all SCADA systems. Is that taking a long time? Is it difficult? No. Or OPC UA is expensive. I don't believe that. In earlier days, you had multiple developers. One developer was taking care on connectivity only, the other one on database and data storage, and the other one on alarming, and you had 3 different tools. Now you have everything unified in one architecture. And by the way, the OPC Foundation is not charging any runtime fee for OPC UA. It's an open technology. Nobody can collect money for that. You should, if you want to have a RAM start, please buy a toolkit, yes. But relatively, you save dramatically money. You get a RAM start, you have proven technology, and you don't have to take care to dive into all details. Is OPC UA really complicated? If you look to all the layers, and if you're a decision maker, you might think, oh yeah, that looks complicated. I don't know what to implement. It looks like a big Lego brick system. And so on. But hey, as mentioned before, a lot of this is handled by hardware, by operating system stuff, by the OPC stack itself, available in different languages. And then there's a very, very small, thin layer which you have to implement yourself to load the information which you like to expose to the outside world. And you have to implement where does the data come from, right? Talk about security very quickly only. I just want to give you the message that OPC UA security is not only built in by design and now your device is completely secure. You have never heard me saying that on stage. Because providing a secure device or service provides much more effort. How does a device boot up? Do you support secure boot? Where do you store your certificates? So this all is not handled by OPC UA. But OPC UA gives you the mechanism to provide a secure communication between devices or to services or between services. It has been designed with security by design, but in parallel, we have an ongoing continuous monitoring. We have a team taking care on all reports coming in, because there will come reports, obviously. Everybody's trying to hack in. And then we have 25 of the best experts acting either reactive or proactive, guiding us, what is the next future, where should we go? Randy Armstrong made a presentation last year to integrate ECC certificates. And then this team is also doing education and guidance. They shrink down all the OPC recommendations for security in a short brochure, and at the end it's one single paper, one single paper. This is what you should activate and enable as security. Because if you don't activate security, it's not secure, right? If you leave your home with a door open, it's not secure. Don't cry. We have the BSI reviewed the specification, but also the source code twice. All results are public, so that's really fantastic. Please go in and look on the OPC Foundation YouTube channel. You see the basics of Randy, but for me it's a pleasure and to highlight here during this OPC Day 2023 to have 3 major presentations on security. First of all, I'd like to thank Mike Clark, our Director, OPC Foundation North America, being in contact with the North America FBI, and we will learn from Joel Max about the federal security recommendations for the OT community. We are really proud to have Joel with us tomorrow, so you should join his presentation definitely. We have Paul Hanke talking about how is the IEC 62443 related to OPC UA Security. 443 is a list of recommendations. What is fulfilled with OPC UA Security? And then in future we might run into a dilemma that we only trust crypto chips coming from a specific region in the world. If you want to deliver your device into a specific region, only the encrypto chip from that region might be accepted. Really challenge for hardware suppliers. And so I'm proud that Markus Heintel from Siemens is providing a speech on how they try, and they established already a joint working group together with the German Bitkom, how to establish OPC UA as an interface to secure elements. Extending OPC UA to the field level, this is where Peter Lutz will dive much deeper and give you an overview on the Wednesday. This group has started in 2018. Meanwhile, a lot of the specifications are out. OPC safety is out, has been released, but also for horizontal communication. Again, Peter is diving into these details. There are demos already available around the world. A multi-vendor demo for horizontal controller-to-controller communication. OPC UA safety over 5G is also a topic which we can show live. The demos are in North America for trade shows, in Europe and also in Asia. Cloud scenarios. I'm not diving here deeper into the details, but again, just recap, we are standardizing the information first with our modeling capabilities, and then we are able to transport that model data, that standardized message via different transport patterns. And it is TCP, it is UDP, it is MQTT, it might be others in future. And so we are proud that we have already 3 dashboards where devices out of the body can publish data via OPC UA MQTT with either JSON binding or the binary binding to keep it more efficient, to different dashboards from Microsoft, from AWS, or from Siemens MindSphere. We have a dedicated talk on this also on Wednesday. Wednesday is the Field and Cloud Day, and Alexander Alexander running the OPC lab in Europe, together with Gunther from HiveMQ, will do a joint presentation on this. So please stay tuned and learn about that. I already mentioned that we have OPC UA REST shown in the year 2020. You find that video, what we presented to others, public on the OPC web, but we will have a dedicated deeper session because we restarted this to make it better, to make extensions, to listen to the use cases. Randy Armstrong is talking about this tomorrow on Tuesday. But I'd like to thank Erich Bahnstedt here. He's running the group. Amazing jumpstart with over 50 registered attendees. Companies are joining the OPC Foundation because they want to have early access. At the end, it is providing the IT world super easy access to all the standardized information what we did in the OT world. I'm not expecting, honestly, that every field device is providing a REST interface. It is more if you go up in higher hierarchical levels for gateways, in the edge, in connected worlds, or obviously in cloud scenarios where you're working with REST and MQTT. Metaverse. The board of directors decided to show a demonstrator with OPC UA in the metaverse, and again it was Erich Bahnstedt bringing the group together, moderating it, creating the demo, and he showcased that demo at the last Hannover Messe, where he modeled a wind park, and then he was able to combine the virtual world with the physical world. OPC UA provides all transport, modeling, security capabilities, so it was easy for him to do that. But anyway, fantastic, always fantastic and thrilling what Erich is providing. Erich obviously will do a presentation also later this week. He made a fantastic presentation at Hannover Messe where he combined ChatGPT into to reduce engineering time, creating OPC UA information models and combining that. He will also do this presentation. It was fully packed, journalists came in, another attendees came in. You should definitely listen to his presentation. Same, by the way, with Dr. Sebastian Käbisch from Siemens. He made a presentation to combine also technologies, the Web of Things technology together with OPC UA to make easier access to information for web pages and other stuff. You should follow his presentation also on Friday. The modeling language, I talked about that before, that we have a powerful modeling language. Here you see that we have over 105 companion specifications, so which means domain-specific information models available in the world. This is what we do together with partners, and so I like to thank a lot of partners. You see all of them on the web page. Half of them, of the companion specifications, are driven and with a lot of manpower, driven by our key partner VDMA. But again, this is half, and the other half is from other areas, is driven by a lot of other partners in the world. Thank you so much for trusting on OPC UA. For our all benefits, also for your benefits, because you get a ramp start to have your own domain information model shared with others in the world. PADIM, we extended the ownership of PADIM. It was initially started by the Fieldcom Group together with the OPC Foundation. Meanwhile, you see there has been a press release. It has been extended to a lot of other associations. We have the chairman, Frank Fengler from ABB. He is talking on this on Wednesday. Please join his presentation on the status and also the future of PADIM. OPC Foundation, the Energy Initiative. I'm not diving deeper here, but the reason why we nominated Aspen Krog from Predictor and Chris Münch from C-Lab to do the speak right after Matthias today is because this is keynote level. This is the direction of the OPC Foundation. We have been strong in the shop floor, in the discrete manufacturing. We have originally started in the process industry, and a lot of process initiatives in the world are trusting OPC UA, even you don't see maybe the label. You know the OPAF group in the United States, the OPAS standard is trusting OPC UA. You know the Namur open architecture for the second channel. This has been dedicated to OPC UA. You know MTP. But OPC Foundation is more and more going deeper into the energy sector on different levels: production, transformation, distribution, storage, and consumption. And obviously we have to find out how does it fit together. So I'm really looking forward to listen to the presentations from our keynote speakers here. All of the companion specifications, all the OPC specifications, once they are released, are free of charge available in the OPC web. I just want to remind you here. And doing specifications is not all. We spend heavy efforts, we the OPC Foundation, to harmonize them, to not have double standardization between different groups. And on top also the VDMA is doing harmonization. They call it the UA for machinery. And we working very close together. Dr. Wolfgang Mahnke is doing the harmonization for both the OPC Foundation and the VDMA. And so we also have a presentation from Wolfgang tomorrow on best practice for modeling. What is really good practice? You should definitely follow his presentation tomorrow. But we also have presentations from Dennis Brendel on the job management interface, which has been released. Together, he is doing this with Johannes Olbort from VDMA. Part of that is in UA for machinery, part of that is an OPCUA spec, and you should definitely listen to that. Having one ordering interface, job management interface for machines for different markets, isn't that a cool story, cool dream? Yes. Offerings information very quickly only. We already announced that we have a .NET user group. It has been established as an idea by ABB, Microsoft and SAP because they are using also the .NET stack which is available on GitHub in their productive code, and they are donating each developer resource to increase quality, to implement other features coming up. They are focused definitely here more on the OT to IT level. The group has started. This is the main message now. All the other messages has been shared. It is not in conflict with other toolkit vendors. The license model doesn't change. So that's all given. The message is the group has been established. They have collected already a long list of requirements, and now they are doing priorities. Martin Regen from Microsoft is the chairperson here. Thank you, Martin. And good luck for all the team and for all the efforts. We have an IoT starter kit. It's easy. Just download it, put it on a Raspberry Pi. In less than 1 hour, you have OPC PubSub over MQTT scenarios running with only data, but also obviously with more sense with metadata. You can receive them, so you can play around. This is also nice for students, for universities. Really cool stuff. Cool stuff definitely is also the UA for academic program. We have a set of about 260 to 270 slides covering different aspects: modeling, security, transport, companion specifications. It has been established in a big team, but then Professor Daniel Grossman from University in Ingolstadt, here we go, have recorded the session so that professors can learn how can I present this stuff. It's under an academic license, free of charge. You can take content, you don't need to keep the OPC Blue Slide Master. Meanwhile, that's the message here, the news. It has been translated in a lot of languages in Chinese, English, Japanese, English was the original for sure, Japanese, Chinese, Arabic and France. I even thought, and I have to ask Alex later on, if we also didn't touch Spain. I think we also have translated to Spanish. Success stories, there are a lot of success stories out on the market. Aspen Krog, by the way, meanwhile have been involved in 2 of them. Congrats, Aspen. His company was the first OPC company in Norway. He was involved with the first one here with Equinor, but you also have been involved in OPCUA in the largest wind park and solar panel park in the world. But I'm proud to announce that we will have very shortly 2 more success stories from the tobacco industry, from Philip Morris International and from company Bühler, a Switzerland company. Looking forward that we can publish that very soon. Overall, that was my presentation. I just want to remind you where you can find all that information. You get the slides later on. We just have to upload everything, prepare everything, and so on. But again, there's a lot of stuff. Don't miss our podcast. If you have success stories on your own, or if you have a really interesting topic where you think, hey, this is what I'm like to share with others, please contact me. I would really love to create a podcast edition with you or create a new success story. With that overall, the summary, this is where we started. OPC UA is, at the end, it's simple. It is just 3 major parts where everything then gets more complicated and more complex, sure. But the technology, toolkits, stacks are hiding the complexity from the usage. That's the key. Promising simple solutions which are not scaling later on, and then you become incompatible because you missed use cases, that's not our world. We want to provide something really proven, that you have semantic, industrial, robust industrial interoperability for the OT world, scaling to the IT world and within the IT world, because we can scale this. With this, I'd like to thank you for joining again. Please stay tuned.